I'm so excited to see you. How are you?
I'm okay, Helen, thank you. Suffering with allergies. The tree pollen always gets me in the eyes at this time of year, but other than that, I'm fine, thank you. Looking
Oh,
forward to my imminent tour and preparing for that.
fantastic. Well, we're going to chat lots about that, Pete. But first of all, this is a retake of the film that we did, isn't it? And I'm a little bit nervous that the internet will cut out a little bit today and our voices aren't synced. So if anybody's watching it and our voices aren't synced, then I'm dead sorry. But I've loved doing a second interview with you, but perhaps pushing a third might be a bit much.
It's incredible that in this day and age of technology, the internet suffers when it's cloudy.
I
I don't
know.
know. Seems
Crazy.
like seems like they should have fixed that, but never mind.
Before we start as well, look, I am wearing a black top. I had a little chat with my boys this morning. I was going, Peter always wears white or black. What shall I go for? White or black? I normally wear bright colours in these interviews, especially for you. I've broken tradition. I've gone black and you've gone black. We're matching.
Well, yeah, well, you look great in bright colours, Helen, but I made as many wardrobe disastrous decisions in the 80s, certainly enough for one person. So I gravitate to black in this day and age.
I like it when you just got the vest, Pete. Better.
Yeah, those days are gone.
Anyway, first of all, before we talk about the new album and the solo tour, I am so excited because not only are you playing one rewind with Go West, you're playing all three, which is amazing. And we do the backstage interviews, so I'll get to see you all the time at Rewind, massive crowds.
Yeah, I'm obviously really looking forward to that. I think it's been a while since we did all three rewinds in a year, so it's always a fantastic weekend, and yeah, really looking forward to it.
Is it probably the biggest crowd that you play all year, Rewind? Because it's a huge crowd, isn't it?
Yeah, certainly one of them. In the past, some of the Let's Rock sites have also been of a comparable size. I think we did Let's Rock Northeast one year, and it was 15,000 plus. So, but yeah, as you say, certainly among the largest crowds Go West would play to in the year.
I'm not sure if I've told you this before, but 13 years ago at Henley, which was one of the first rewinds, we stood in the rain all day and all evening to see you late at night, and we were on the front row and we were absolutely drenched. I just wanted to ask you: is there anybody you would stand in the rain all day to see?
That's a good question. There aren't many people that I would stand in the room, which is why I'm always so thankful and grateful and humbled that people, suffer sunburn and trench foot on the same day in order to see this or that artist. So respect and power to you. I'm not sure that there is anyone I would stand in the rain to see.
Good answer. Well, kind of, yeah, I guess so. Anyway, let's move on. Solo tour. You're super busy. Not only have you got a solo tour, well, before we talk about that, you've got a new album and it's a solo album. It's a long time coming, Pete. Tell us about it. Sea Glass.
Yes, like hundreds of other musicians and writers, I started thinking I ought to be doing something constructive during the first lockdown a couple of years ago now. So, yeah, I've got a little studio at home, and I started out with a cover of a Donna Missel song called Jupiter, which she wrote with Sharon Van Etten. And then I started fooling around with original ideas, and one thing led to another over 2.5 years, however long it's been. And yeah, there are nine other songs on the album that I've written on my own, which has been, I haven't done that for a very long time. And yeah, it's been great for better or worse to have full creative control.
Well, it's also wonderful that you've had some brilliant success with these singles because some have been Heritage Charts number ones.
Yes, the first two singles from the album were number one on the Heritage chart. Shout out to Mike Reed for providing a platform to those of us who struggle getting any kind of national or mainstream exposure outside of our social media followers. So yeah, I'm very grateful to people who voted. And while we're on the subject, my new song Dream Burning Down is just outside the Heritage 40 this week. So if you click on the YouTube, click on my social media posts, and you like the song, perhaps you'll be good enough and kind enough to vote for me this week.
Fantastic. I saw Nick had put a little thing about voting for you yesterday on Twitter. You've got some hardcore followers, haven't you, that really support you and are amazing at publicising your music.
Yes, thank you, Nick. Yeah, but again, I'm always humbled that people are so invested and will pay for tickets to see me on more than one occasion on my forthcoming tour. Some lovely ladies have already bought tickets to every show. What can you say about fans like that, except they're the best, and I'm so grateful.
It's because we love you, Peter Cox. Speaking of sea glass, I absolutely love the analogy that you gave. Can you tell us, just in case anybody's not heard this yet?
The lady Sally Hurst, who's done the artwork for the Sea Glass album and my last two solo albums, actually, posts from the beach near where she lives and had posted a lot of pictures showing the sea glass that she collected. And as I mentioned on social media, I drew a connection between the length of time it takes me to knock a song into shape and the way that the tides polish and smooth jagged pieces of glass into something flawed but hopefully beautiful. So yeah, again, as I say in my album credits, Sally's influence over the look as well as the title of the album, kind of go beyond her credits. I'm seeing her posts on Instagram and thinking, these are beautiful pictures, and then made that connection. So that's how the album title came about.
So the tour, Peter, how many dates now?
I think it's 11. I think it's 11.
Some are already sold out. We'll be there on your opening night, giving you loads of support. But tell us a little bit about it then, because I guess getting a solo tour together is quite a difficult thing.
Yes, and I never know how much detail to go into because, for a ticket buyer, why should they necessarily be aware of or concerned about the logistics that are involved in putting a tour together? But yeah, it's a huge undertaking, especially when under Go West circumstances, I wouldn't be as hands-on involved in every single detail, from choosing the musicians that I'm working with to whether or not we can afford to stay in a hotel on a given night, and so on and on and on. Yeah, it's a big deal, and I'm just hoping that I can break even on these dates, which give me an opportunity to obviously promote the new album, hopefully sell a few copies to people who might want to buy it after they hear the songs. Who knows? But yeah, it's a challenge. But on the other hand, as I say, there are pros and cons to having complete control. And I enjoy that freedom, but it brings with it a few headaches as well.
So you literally are hands-on. It is your choice about exactly how you're setting things up and what goes on.
Yeah, yes, wherever that's under my control. Yes, it's all my fault. Yeah, you can blame me for whatever it is.
Now yes. you've got two wonderful female singers. I'm a huge fan of Kelly Barnes from She Sings with Heaven 17, and she most amazing voice. And her friend, is it Hayley, that's singing with you? Singing with her as well?
Yes, Hayley lives on the same street as Kelly, so we mustn't leave her out. Hayley Williams will be my other singer. Yeah, we've worked with Kelly, obviously. You and I discussed this earlier. She works with a number of artists, those kinds of heritage artists. She's often, I think she's in the house band or at the Let's Rock gigs, which means she sings with all the artists who perform in front of that house band. So having been in that environment often myself, I've seen her working a lot. And as you point out, anyone who can sing that female vocal part in Temptation in the Heaven 17 set is, that's a challenge. But we've worked with Kelly and also with Hayley, actually, because the two ladies sang with Go West on our orchestral tour, along with my good pal, Sam Blue. It just seemed a natural fit from there.
Brilliant. Well, without giving too much away, just tell us a little bit about what we can expect then, because I guess you're going to have a full band, is that right? And you've got your singers, and you are, I presume, going to sing a few Go West songs as well.
Yeah, I will be playing some more familiar songs. I know it's an old story that what nobody wants to hear is I'm now going to play my new album from start to finish when they come to see an artist play live. Of course, I'm going to be playing some songs from the new album. I'm going to be playing some songs from previous solo albums. But yes, hoping to keep the audience on side with a couple of more familiar songs, let's just say.
And there'll be a merchandise store?
The album, vinyl and CD, is going to be on sale. I'm going to cross my fingers when I say that, because, man, getting a vinyl album manufacturers, again, I know these details may not be interesting, but it's the amount of time that you have to be ready ahead of time to get vinyl. So I say all that because I'm assured, and I'm very much hoping, that I will have vinyl for sale at the gigs, and I'll be thanking people personally and signing any CDs and vinyl that's bought at the shows. So yeah, it'll be there.
So people can come up and get a hug at the end?
I don't know about a hug, but
I'll cut that bit out if you like. Anyway, I have 5 questions that I want to ask you. They're kind of like quick fire, but they're about your tour. But you have to give me like the first answer that comes to your head. Is that a deal?
As long as we understand it's the first answer, and 30 seconds later I might have thought of something different. But yes, okay, I understand the rules.
I've got my questions stuck to the kids' cereal box. Can you see? So I might have to keep glancing over. I might have to keep glancing over to there. Okay, are we ready, Peter Cox?
Yeah.
What is your preferred meal just before you go on stage?
Oh, I don't eat before the show. Yeah, got some tight shirts to fit into and don't want to frighten anyone in the front row with buttons popping off. No, I find it does help my energy level to not be digesting a heavy meal while I'm performing. So I don't eat before the show.
Any dressing room requests?
That's a good question, because I had to fill in a rider and contacted all the band to ask them which beer they preferred, and the ladies, which wine would you like to drink, and so on and so on. But the reality is that even though the rider is sent to venues and it's their contractual obligation, supposedly, to fulfill that rider, the main thing is actually water, because there's never enough water ever. Yeah, I drink a lot of water while I'm working. So yeah, very uninteresting. I could, obviously I could say I want a specific brand of champagne for after the show, but whether or not that would materialize, I'm not so sure.
Oh, well, let us know. I'm sure we can provide it. When do you change?
Just before the show.
Literally, like a few minutes before.
I must say, yes, although I must say some of the venues on my solo tour are quite bijou, and I know that the dressing room at the Pizza Express in Holborn is little more than a cupboard. So my changing just before the show might have to go by the by in certain circumstances.
What is the last thing you do before you walk up onto stage?
Some kind of a fist bump or a handshake with all the band members, look them in the eye, wish them well, and say, have a good one. Yeah.
Oh, nice answer. And finally, as you walk on stage and you see the crowd, what's going through your head?
Here we go.
Fingers crossed.
No, well, I do. Yeah, I'm always so grateful. I've been doing this a long time now, and yeah, I'm just so grateful that people are buying tickets to see the show, that people are responding positively to the album, because it's when you're up over your head writing the songs and working on the overdubs and communicating with people and so on and so on, that's one dimension. But obviously the time comes when you have to say, okay, I have to let it go now, that's done, let's see what people think of it, really. And of course, you have to understand, as it's a lesson we all learn, you can't please all the people all the time. So you put it out there, and fingers crossed, you hope for a good reaction.
I'm sure you'll be totally amazing. We can't wait to see you. This chat has been brilliant. I'm sorry if the sync has been a little bit out with our voices, because I can see a little bit occasionally yours seems to go a little bit out. So sorry, anybody that's watching, if it's a little bit out. Pete, we love you. Can't wait to see you. Good luck with the new single. Vote everybody on the Heritage chart. Anything else you want to say, Pete?
Yes, thanks so much, Helen. Loving 80s music rocks. Thank you very much.